Hello, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And I'm back because let's talk about Bangladesh. First of all, kudos to Bangladesh. Took them 16 years to finally get there. They got it. They did what they did in 71, you can say. Good for them. They rose up for what they thought was right. They rose up against what they thought was wrong. And they achieved it. I know Pakistan did that just before the elections in which Imran Khan won, but the difference here I think would be is that Pakistan actually rocked the previous government's boat overnight. Because Imran Khan was the leader. It was under his leadership that the whole nation, just literally spent days and nights and days and nights in a row, until the government was forced to go and the election the election was not allowed to get rigged, although they still rigged the election, but to a large extent we still managed to get Imran Khan up there. But obviously because of those riggings and because of those loopholes, they managed to topple Imran Khan. Again, even if there wasn't any loophole, they would have still done it. Why? Because you have America the Great, the dawn of the world global mafia. Whenever America wants to destroy a country's inner peace or their inner stability, then they will always make such moves. As we know, they've been notorious for it. They've been infamous for it. Also remember that Bangladesh actually did not even achieve its independence solely on its own. Even then, it was there was a big hand of India and the United States. Remember that. If you actually read the archives, in which the intelligence reports once the intelligence reports got released, it was out and exposed anyway. But if you ever get a chance to go through the archives, you would know that when the US was flailing and failing badly in Vietnam, they had nowhere else to fall upon, and that's when they fell upon Bangladesh. Right? So India and the United States are basically the reason why Bangladesh came into being, which is, again, the past is the past. Bangladesh wanted to be independent. As I said, originally when Quaid-e-Azam and Muhammad Ali Jinnah fought, he fought for two states. He'd never fought for one state of Pakistan. He fought for two states. One was the state of Bengal and one was Pakistan. It is just as I've always said, it is the generosity and the loyalty of the Bangladeshis that they showed to Jinnah, that they decided to stick with us as one country. Even though geographically, as you can see, it's just not possible. We're on one side of India, they're on the other side of India. We've got India in between. If you've got the ugly stepsister India in between, tell me, how can you ever remain one country in any case? It's just not possible, because India is the America of Asia. India has to poke and prod in every single country, and it has to try to be the dawn of the Asian mafia. So here, coming back to the present, Pakistan right now, instead of doing the same thing that the Bangladeshis have done, the problem is that Pakistan is once again going towards rallies and protests, which, as I'm very against, because I do feel that you need to look at the situation and act accordingly. And that's exactly what the Bangladeshis did. They knew that rallies and protests are not going to help because they tried it before. Did not help. Okay? People got killed. But I guess the one thing that worked in their favor was the same thing that worked in our favor when we initiated our nationwide protest against the previous government, and we got Imran Khan elected to being prime minister. I think it was then the police did not go against us. They refused to go against us, and the army did not as such interfere. Not openly anyway. Maybe covertly. As we know, the army is always divided into two factions. They were too busy fighting each other to maintain control anyway, at that point. So I guess you could say that the pro-Pakistan faction managed to get the upper hand to a large extent. Not completely, but to a large extent. But in Bangladesh, you see, the army was totally on the people's side. There were no factions divided. There was no internal strife. There was nothing. There was nothing to discuss, nothing to debate. The army was on the side of their people, and they told the government that we will not go against our people for you in your dreams, in other words. So yeah, these are the two similarities that you can see here. Right now, we've got the law enforcement and the army very overtly used against us. So we have to actually dismantle the current hierarchy of the army and the police enforcement. In fact, I think the right way to go about it, if you really, really, really want a complete purge, is to fire every single existing cadet, officer, soldier, constable. So in both the organizations, we have to completely dismantle them, fire every single person that exists there, and rebuild them from scratch, hiring 100% anew. Okay, that's what I think, and I'll continue to think that, and you will see with time that I will always be proved right here. Because as I said, you can never build a foundation, a new foundation atop a rotten foundation, and you can never build a new house on top of a rotten foundation. You have to dig out the foundation, you have to redo the foundation if it's rotten. It's as simple as that. So, keeping all of that in mind, India obviously is now in deep mud, and that is that the reason why India is panicking, the reason why it's having kittens, is because you see the already known rumors, something that they were hoping to always disclaim, they were hoping to put a disclaimer on, and that was that India was 100% involved in getting so many people of the Jamaat Islami killed, of getting so many old patriots of Bangladesh killed, in order to settle Hasina Wajid in the position that she sat at for 16 years. So basically, in other words, India worked with Hasina Wajid to commit treason against her own country so that she could reign over her people for 16 years. And now India cannot put a disclaimer on that. The fact that she ran to India, the fact that India had no choice but to give her immediate refuge, has proven the fact that India was indeed involved in the whole caboodle, the whole charade, the whole violence, the whole strife within Bangladesh, that India was heavily involved in putting Hasina Wajid in the position that she was, and that India worked with Hasina Wajid to brainwash the next generations of Bangladesh against Pakistan, yes, but also to be pro-India, so that they should accept only and only Indian market, they should accept only and only Indian influence. And so Bangladesh was literally occupied by India on a proxy level, right? So basically it was a sort of a proxy occupation by India in Bangladesh, and Hasina Wajid was their puppet. So this has been proved now. So India is now shitting its pants because it does not want to pay the price for its acts. It's just like how India has been constantly interfering with Afghanistan, but whenever Afghanistan has a do or die situation, they come running to Pakistan. Have you ever seen Afghanis seek refuge in India? So yeah, India, America, and the UK, this is exactly what they do. This is exactly what they have in common. They will use you and then they will throw you, they will dispose you. And this is why America and the UK are now trying to pass the buck when it comes to Hasina Wajid. They want India to keep her, India wants them to keep her. Now they're all trying to pass the buck because nobody wants to be openly exposed in front of the world as the people behind the bloodshed in Bangladesh, the people behind this cruel, brutal dictator, this traitor of Bangladesh. So this is it in a nutshell, okay? As you know, the Americans have always created strife, the British and the Americans. They've always created strife in regions in which they wanted to maintain control so that recolonization should be easy. And India, their lapdog, is practically helping them, not knowing that it is actually putting itself in that situation too. Now, here's a classic example of what I'm trying to say, because America is doing the exact same thing to Pakistan. As I said, they will use you, they will abuse you, they'll dispose you. So, as we all know, the current government of Pakistan has been under complete dictation of the US government. The US establishment has been dictating every single step taken by the Pak army and the Pakistani government, right down to the T. And yet, America now decides that it should use Pakistan as a scapegoat and claim that Pakistan worked with Iran to, to attempt attacks on Israel and on America, which is ridiculous, obviously. And so they decided once again to get another scapegoat, as if they didn't have enough scapegoats before that they had used and abused from Pakistan. They decided to just kidnap and arrest a completely innocent person, just because he happens to have relationships with both Pakistan and Iran, as he's closely connected to both the countries. And he's a Pakistani who's called Asif Merchant. They decided to just kidnap him and then arrest him and claim that they're arresting him because they feel that he was the one who was sent by Pakistan to aid Iran. I mean, can you imagine Pakistan that was made to attempt an attack on Iran's soil by the American government is now supposed to have helped Iran to stage an attack on Americans and on Israelis? Are you serious? As if Iran needs Pakistan's help, number one. Iran and Pakistan do not enjoy such close relationships that they would actually help each other to attack other countries. Yeah. I mean, that just shows how desperate America is and how America is, sort of expediting its, false narratives, and how it is faking history once again right in front of our eyes, just so that it can expedite its benefits, its gains, in its war. The wars that it is basically igniting all over the world, like the attacks on Lebanon, the attacks that they have already wreaked havoc on Syria, on Egypt too, and Pakistan as well. Now, Bangladesh has forced their puppet out. They're worried. But remember, like how we forced their people out, but then they at the end toppled our government and brought their people back in. They did the same in Egypt. They will definitely attempt to do the same in Bangladesh. Obviously, because they've got India right next door who can do it, who can do their dirty job for them. So you've got that. So, I mean, I would say that the Bangladeshis should not, dance the victory dance right now. They need to be very, very alert. They need to be very, very cautious. They need to be hyper vigilant right now to make sure that the new government that they install should not be interfered with by India and America, consequently, once again, like how ours was. That there should be no loopholes. They should do everything very, very carefully, very meticulously. They should not allow the re-entry of Hasina Wajid or any other traitor, sent in by India and America. This, the Bangladeshi people need to now very, 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 very vigilantly take care of. Okay, so I'm fumbling at this point because I'm trying to remember my third point, which I cannot at the moment. So give me just 2 seconds. Okay, apparently I've said it all. So there you are. I mean, at the moment, this is all I've got. And I do believe that the people of Pakistan need to. I understand we're having these huge rallies and all, but again, I will say this time does not call for rallies. This time calls for a united front and action, which is something I've been saying like for the past 2 years now. And every single time people failed to do that, as you can see, as I've always been saying, you are giving the American planted government, the American planted traitors within your army, you're giving them another chance to take another step to solidify whatever it is that they're doing against us. Okay, so we should not keep on giving them chances to strengthen their hold. Okay, we need to give a surprise attack. I know Imran Khan has called out for the people to come out on the 13th of August, which is, our Independence Day's eve. And obviously people are going to come out, the whole nation's going to come out just because Imran Khan's asked them to. But again, as I said, you need to think very carefully now that we must force this government out. We must make them pay, not just force them out and let them flee like Hasina Wajid. They always flee. Hasina Wajid fled, Nawaz Sharif fled a million times, Zardari fled a million times, Bajwa fled, everybody flees. We should not let them flee. We need to catch hold of them, and we need to punish them adequately so that they should serve as an example for future generations. Well, this is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.